Online marketing is a great tool to grow your local business. With so many advertising options, many companies overlook the power of online marketing. 97% of consumers search for local businesses online. With the right plan, your local business can easily leverage this power and quickly gain more customers. Today's expert is here with some simple strategies on increasing your local business through online marketing.
If you recall the previous module, we covered goal setting and how to convey a simple but highly motivating speech in 30 minutes or less. Likewise, this module will focus more on showing you how to be a superstar speaker in just 3 days. Public speaking in just 3 days. Is it possible? The answer is yes, if you complete the 4 things on this checklist. In each lesson, you'll be exposed to different methods to overcome the common public speaking barriers faced by most speakers, especially how to build up your confidence when you're conducting presentations, and of course how to overcome your stage fright with a few easy techniques. Many of us have the wrong insight about introverts. Do you think this statement is true? Introversion is just a social preference. Similar to personal preference, people are free to choose what they want to be. Some people choose to be extroverts, and of course, there's people who prefer to be introverts. But being an introvert does not mean that you can't speak in front of a crowd. Many influential speakers are introverts as soon as they step down from the stage. That said, the single biggest misconception about introverts is that they're socially anxious and shy. And because of this popular myth, people have an impression about introverts, including the introverts themselves. They think they can't speak in front of a crowd. The honest truth is, anyone can be a great public speaker if they choose to be. Now, we'll begin the 3-day program on how to be a superstar speaker. Once again, focus on your goal setting. Have a clear goal in your mind about what you want to achieve. Here are some important questions to ask yourself when you're setting goals. Who's your audience? What's your message? And what's your medium? Once you have your goal set, plan your presentation. In order to craft your presentation, you'll need to know how long's your speech and what's the main focus in the speech. Unless you're preparing a long seminar, the recommended duration is 10 to 45 minutes. Anything longer, your audience will lose focus and you won't have their attention. Next, define the core message for your speech. If you're clear about what your main focus is, there won't be a problem in defining your core message. And then, you can start working on your presentation by using PowerPoint. In order to have a smooth flow in your speech, you need to structure your speech. The flow of your speech determines the effectiveness of delivering your message to your audience. First things first, start your speech with a warm welcome. Break the ice, then introduce yourself and explain why you're standing on the stage. Building rapport is as important as conveying the message itself. It affects whether you can move your audience to respond to your call to action. But don't spend too much time in the introduction. Visuals are used to aid the memory of your audience about your presentation and product. Research shows that most people remember visuals better than words, so make full use of these. Transitions between your main points helps to break down your core message into individual parts and at the same time serves as a short break for your audience. The transition keeps your audience on the track with you from point to point. Examples of transitions include, "This is because," "Speaking of this," and so much more. The closing is the most important part. You can end your speech with a conclusion that ties up everything you'd mentioned earlier. The conclusion should summarize, make an appeal, and lead your audience to answer the call to action. The implementation of stories supports your core message. People have a greater impression about something when there's a story. The use of stories in the presentation gives your audience a short break as well as brightening up the atmosphere, because stories are not only easy to remember, but also exciting. Once you've structured your speech, start rehearsing your presentation. There are 3 major elements for delivering a high-impact presentation: facial expression, body language, and the tone of your voice. Up until now, we put our focus on how to structure your speech, which is mostly related to words. But these 3 factors are as important as the words you use in delivering your message. The 3 elements should be put into practice. All in all, practice always makes perfect. When you're familiar with the speech, your confidence level will shoot up. When you have a clear goal in mind to share a message with your audience, it means you're ready for your live presentation. Most importantly, besides practice, get constructive feedback from your audience. The feedback, no matter positive or negative, will help you improve your public speaking skills. Remember, be ready to receive any kind of feedback and learn from your mistakes. Here we are at day 2 of the program. Figure out your own style of speaking and personality. No one's the same, we're all born different. There's no need to follow what other speakers do, but learn from them, their techniques, body language, tone of voice, and so much more. So, avoid copycat speeches. Imagine you're in a seminar now, with a speaker telling you about something monotonously. Or, imagine you're in a lecture hall, listening to your lecturer teaching in a neutral tone, with no excitement about his subject. Do you still want to be in the room? You can barely remember what the person's talking about. So, avoid a monotone when you're delivering your presentation through practice. Dressing up is one of the ways to illustrate your style. People always remember your first impression before they get to know you personally. So, beware of your appearance. Dress smart or formal. You can always wear a coat, blazer, or suit. Wearing a coat will always make you stand out among the crowd. There's a need for you to appear as an authority among your audience, so that your audience can recognize you straight away when they look at you. It's worth mentioning once again, first impressions are important when you meet someone for the first time. Always be neat and presentable, because this creates a positive appeal to your audience. There are many ways to style a speech. Choose the one that makes you feel the most comfortable and suits you best in presenting yourself. No one knows you better than you yourself. Don't force yourself to become someone you're not. After deciding your own style of speech, be confident in your style. Then your positive energy will be passed down to your audience, and they'll be more likely to listen to you. Humor is a great way to liven up the atmosphere in the room, but don't overuse jokes in your presentation, or else people will be distracted from the track. Don't make fun of others in your jokes. Instead, use self-deprecating humor. If your jokes fail to make your audience laugh, don't be discouraged. Let's have a quick glance on the jokes. There's some principles to remember when you're approaching this style of humor. Be sure to use a clean joke. Don't share jokes that are sexual, dirty, or offensive. In an unofficial context, when you're talking to your friends, people don't mind sexual jokes, but it's totally different when you're on a stage. Stereotyping is a serious problem even now, but in a seminar, remember that racism and bigotry will definitely offend your audience. Your audience might consist of people from different backgrounds and cultures, so you need to be sensitive. You've done all the preparation in the last 2 days. Now you'll need to practice a 5-minute speech in front of a small group on your 3rd day. It will be good to record your voice and speak on the computer's microphone. Imagine you're presenting your speech in a live presentation. Through the recording, you can find out the mistakes you made and learn from them. When you're conducting a presentation, one of 2 things will happen. Either your presentation will take up more time than you think, or your presentation will be finished earlier than you scheduled. The timing of your presentation is always unpredictable. When you come across this problem, you can use this spontaneous response to end it on time. If you finish your main presentation ahead of time, this is a good problem to have. You'll have more time to open up the floor for your question and answer session with your audience, or make full use of the free time left by sharing 1 or 2 stories as a bonus. So always prepare 1 or 2 backup stories. If you encounter the second problem, it definitely is not a good thing. What should you do if you go overtime? To prevent this problem, rehearse before the actual presentation and check your timing. Always time your presentation when you rehearse. With enough practice, you can predict the total time taken and make some changes and tune your presentation accordingly. Start off by removing the fluff and take off less important points to shorten the presentation. But don't throw away all the ideas you can't present. Instead, have them as your backup points or stories. Whether you're rehearsing or during the actual presentation, you can always have a timekeeper to warn you 15 minutes and 5 minutes before your time is up. Unexpected things always happen, so as a public speaker, you'll need to act spontaneously in different scenarios. If you're out of time, but you're still on stage, what do? You can jump straight to the conclusion and call for action. Although you may not have enough time, make sure you take all the important points and summarize them. Then conclude with a call to action. Second, apologize for running out of time and ask a member of the audience to meet you at the backstage for further inquiries. Some of the audience may be interested to buy your product after the presentation. Do not hesitate to give them a call to action, even though you're not on stage. Have you noticed when others are presenting, they tend to have them and ah as they speak? These are called brain gaps. There are a few easy steps to eliminate these brain gaps. Keep silent for a while instead of using the ms or ahs. The audience can understand that you're gathering your thoughts in your pauses. To further avoid this, you can keep small notes with key points in your pocket. People tend to have brain gaps when they're nervous as well, so breathe normally and speak slowly to calm yourself down.
And there you have it. Today's customers just don't go online to find companies that rank at the top. They go online to find the most reputable company to work with. And with the right online marketing strategy, you can be top dog. Now, the ball's in your court. Are you hoping to learn more about these strategies? Are you ready to take action? Just call our featured expert at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching.